Welcome to Inner Magic. I'm your host, Nives, and today I am thrilled to introduce you to Chris, a wonderful marketer and a multi-passionate entrepreneur. Chris, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to chatting with you today.
All right, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and about your multi-passionate entrepreneurship and your way, how did this happen altogether?
Well, I've always been creative and wanting to keep my hands and fingers busy. And in school, I learned how to sew, and then I taught myself embroidery, and then did crochet, and then I've done other lots of things. And then you can't really make a living doing that. But I was a really great typist because it kept my fingers busy. And so I started as a clerk typist, then became a programmer for the airline within the airline industry. And then I took my desire for creating things as my hobbies. So I have this thing where I have like a very logical, rational brain and a very creative brain. It's like 50-50. And then I got laid off as a programmer, found a nonprofit belly dance magazine, which was one of my hobbies, and worked for them and really managed to, I don't know how to explain it, but all of a sudden there was this graphic design, which I'd always had kind of an interest in, but way back after everything else. And they had a magazine. And so I started working for them and I really loved it. And I was like, I think I need to work for myself because some of these projects I'm not so interested in working on. And so, yeah, I get to be creative and I get to be very rational and logical, both being a graphic designer. So it really suits me very well. I really like it.
Yeah, you managed to create a thriving business combining all your multiple passions. Could you tell us maybe and to our listeners a little bit more about how you woven together your passions for marketing, business, and entrepreneurship?
Yeah, well, it's everything that I do, there's always like a creative bent to it, and they all kind of are related in a way as far as my business part goes. So as a graphic designer, I need to know about layout and colors and fonts and those kinds of things. As somebody who fixes photos, they're used within your graphic design, right? Your flyers, your brochures, your event programs, those kinds of things. And then the promotional products, they also use colors and fonts and logos. So they're very much related in a kind of broad way. And and they're each require different skills and different knowledge of what is needed to get the item printed or up on the digital media that you're using. So it requires a lot of knowledge and research, and which I'm also like to learn a lot of things. So it, as weird as it sounds, it does all work together.
Yeah, how do you manage actually to blend the creativity at in the same time convey a particular message, a straight message in your marketing?
Yeah, it can be tricky. Um, but for I find it easier to work for client projects than my own. I am absolutely mediocre on designing my own stuff because I have an emotional attachment that is so deep and personal that I can't really like get any intuition from it. I'm just like, is this the right thing? Is this the right thing? So it's easy for me to do other people. And when they send me their text and we talk about what their favorite colors are, and if they have a particular font they're fond of, and they send me their images, and then I do a rough placement of whatever I'm designing, whether it's a business card, a flyer, or a website banner, whatever it is. I just kind of do a rough placement, you know, oh, well, this needs to be a little bit larger and this needs to be here and blah, blah, blah. And I lay it out, and then I'll be looking at it. I'm like, okay, that looks pretty good. And then I see the colors and I see the emotion and feeling within the photos. And then all of a sudden I'll get like kind of like an inspiration, like, oh, I know a background that'll just tie everything all together, you know. So you have that little creative spark going there. And sometimes I don't have one, and then I'll go up, I'll put it aside and work on another project or go eat lunch or dinner or whatever. And then I'll come back and look at it, and then something will hit me, or I'll just start scrolling through all my backgrounds. I don't know, I got tens of thousands of backgrounds and stuff on my computer, and let's just sit there and scroll through and see what jiggles, you know, like, oh, that could work, but it's not quite right. And so there's a lot of trial and error too, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I think I got something that'll be perfect, put it on there, and it's like, well, that looks horrible, I'm not going with that one. So trial and error and just practice. And sometimes things do end up taking much longer than what you think it's going to take. So I've learned never to say, oh yeah, that's really quick and easy, I can do that in 30 minutes. No, sometimes it ends up taking, you know, like a half a day, because I just can't feel everything, you know. And it, as amazing as it sounds, even fonts have feelings, right? So that's why weddings here in the United States, the wedding invitations are always in this big, flowery, flowing script that has, you know, kind of like a very aw kind of a feeling to it. And unless you're doing something for Halloween, you're not going to get like one of those very rigid, looks like knife point fonts and say, come to our wedding, because it's like, no. So, you know, fonts have feelings, fonts can generate emotions. So you have to like really work with all these things, and be open to wherever it leads you, and you just keep going and learning and searching and finding.
Right, thank you. Could you explain the importance of the multi-pronged strategy? How do marketing products fit into this strategy?
Multi-prong, it means different things to different people. And since I work with multi-passionate creative people, for us, I look at it as, you don't want to just advertise on Facebook. You don't want to just talk to your family and friends. You want to find a way to meet other people, right? You go to some kind of networking event, not necessarily like the big ones for professionals, you know, because that's not going to most likely be your audience if you're a crafter and you're doing craft shows where you're selling your goods at a flea market or a craft show. And you want to do social media, you want to do people that you meet in person, you want to build relationships. And then what you can do with the promotional products is that like will cement whatever good feelings that they have about you when they meet you. They work great as customer retention, right? You have a repeat customer. Yeah, it's great getting 10% off, but you know what? You have a bunch of mugs or a tote bag, and you only give them out to people who spend $100 or more, or somebody who's been a longtime client as a holiday gift. And they're like, wow, this is a really nice thank you. The recipient does, right? This is a really nice thank you. And that just generates so much goodwill. It's like, oh, they really appreciate me. But even something as small as a good quality pen, people will keep that. They've done studies, and if it's a useful product, 77% of the people will keep it, you know, and 60% will keep it for up to 3 years. So, you know, it's again, it's marketing, right? You want to kind of do what other people aren't doing, so you will also stand out. right? So you can get, they now have candies, right? So you can buy candies that or packets of gum, all kinds of food type items that are relatively inexpensive, and you can turn it into your business card on the larger packages. But the individual ones that you can still have like a little sticker that has your name on, free candy, grab a handful of candy that's covered in a wrapper and has your little logo on it and your little name. And if it's good quality, people are going to remember, but if it's bad quality, you're going to lose people. So don't go cheap. Don't go cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. And how has your marketing approach evolved over the years, especially with the rapid changes with the technology and
Um, yeah, you have to expand with the technology and the growth of all the different social media outlets, right? You've got X/Twitter, you've got TikTok, you've got Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So you have a lot more, and you want to just kind of pick whichever style suits you. Like I'm not really going to be much on Instagram or TikTok. I don't like their platform. I find it confusing to me. But I'm not their demographic anyway, so uh, but other people, my age, man, they love it. They get it right away. Uh, and when I started, it was mostly just ads in newsletters, event programs, magazines, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's been a very big change, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future because I mean, I'm not very good at seeing into the future, and I don't know how else things are going to change. But you just learn and adapt where and when you can. And
yeah.
yeah.
So what advice would you give to the small businesses or maybe a fellow multi-passionate entrepreneurs, how they could enhance their marketing?
How they could enhance their marketing. I think I wouldn't necessarily call it enhance, but maybe, yeah, I would say really trust your instinct. If somebody tells you you should be somewhere or doing something or changing something, and there's something within you that just says no loudly or even maybe not so loudly, don't do it. Trust your instinct. I didn't trust my instinct, and I ended up wasting about 4 years of marketing my company because I was told to split my photo fixing away from my graphic design website. So I had two websites, two business cards, and then when I would go to an event and I would try to explain, that I do this and this, they would get confused because it was two different business cards. And after about 2 years, I was so disgusted and so frustrated that I literally did nothing for like 3 years. Literally did no marketing at all for 3 years because and I was like, I'm going to put it together. I'm going to put it back together. I don't care what all the experts say. And about that time, I read some articles by some people and took a couple of small courses by other multi-passionate, creative type people. And I was like, okay, I'm on the right path. And so I've merged them back together. But I wasted a handful of years listening to experts that didn't understand us multi-passionate entrepreneurs, right? It's so trust yourself would be the big thing. And another one would be don't use the colors and fonts that everybody else in your business is using unless you really do like those colors, right? If you're in the healthcare field, everybody's using green and blue for healthcare, right? And if those don't speak to you, well, go with purple and orange. If those are your favorite two colors, go with that. You don't have to use blue and green because everybody else is doing it. Do what speaks to you, because when you are happy with your colors and you're very happy with your business card, you're going to be excited, you're going to be engaging, and that will draw people to you. That's how you get customers, that's how you get clients, is by being happy about promoting and marketing your own business, because they feel that excitement. They're like, hey, I want part of that. I want to be excited about my business too. So
Absolutely.
that would be two of the big ones that I would recommend for multi-passionate people, especially if you're a creative type.
All right. That's a really good one. Thank you.
You're very
And
welcome.
what emerging trends and technologies are you really excited about?
I'm excited about the AI use in fixing photos, because it just speeds up the process. And but there are sometimes AI is absolutely no good. It really cannot, it really cannot tell the difference between a person's clothing and the background. And so you will still need people to go in there and do the work. So AI is going to take away some work from a lot of people, but there's going to be there's still going to be a need for people to fix photos. And I don't know that AI will ever truly be able to create like a flyer that is really engaging. It will be engaging enough, but it'll be like down here engaging, like medium, like mediocre, right? But it won't really be able to do anything for unique, grab your attention. And so you'll still need graphic designers to have that weird little perspective, and that let's make this different. Let's do something different. And AI, I don't think when it comes to hard uh, products like flyers and whatnot, I don't think AI can really do that. Um, and one of the other um, technologies is they're coming up with smaller and smaller ways to save, or storage of all your data. And that's pretty cool, and it's so much cheaper. Oh my gosh, I remember when a terabyte disk drive storage unit, right, came out, like what, 15 years ago. It was $1,200 for a terabyte. I can now go down the street to Office Depot and get a flash drive, that well, not a flash drive, but a hard drive, external hard drive, that's 2 terabytes for like $50. So those kind of helpful technologies are nice. And for trends that are coming up, an article I read was talking about how the 1970s retro look might be making a comeback. And I'm looking forward to that, because I was a teenager in the 70s. And so I'm all about like the bold colors and the larger kind of bubbly fonts, right? The little curves everywhere. And to me, that was just so happy. The posters were fun. They were in your face. They were vibrant. And I kind of think we need some of that joy back in our marketing and our advertisement. Let's bring some fun back in. Let's not be stodgy. It's like, I don't remember what it was that I saw, so I'm making this up. But I saw somebody in a traditional, very stodgy field like accounting, and I was like, well, that is totally different, and I absolutely love that. If I needed an accountant, I would go to this person. And like, I'm sorry, I really don't remember what it was, but it was like they had something fun, like a hummingbird was their mascot, or their logo, was part of their logo. And it was like, well, yeah, you know, you're happy, you're free, you're willing to help out, and you know, you're going to stick with it, and just having something fun. It's like, yeah, I'm drawn to somebody who has a serious business, but they're not going to be stodgy, right? Let's everybody have some fun in your job or in your business. And let's just make things a little bit more fun. There's no other word but fun. Sometimes you just need to have a little bit of fun when you're at work.
Absolutely, yeah. We need more these fun and flowery times.
Yes, yes.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. This was very inspiring, and I'm sure our listeners will be inspired as well. So, if someone would like to reach out to you and maybe even like to work with you, where can they find you? Do you have any social media, or maybe what's the best way to reach out to you?
Um, well, I have a website. I'm on Facebook and I'm on LinkedIn. Um, and probably the easiest would be the website. And there's a contact me page there because everything else is just like so long. I mean, um, I can send it to you, or so that you can,
Yeah,
you know, post it
absolutely.
as
Yeah.
a comment, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, the website is www.huffmanenterprises.us.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah,
if you put it in
absolutely.
the
We will post
description,
it.
yeah, that would be great. And I'll send all that to you. And free consultations, you know, yeah, I'm willing. I love helping. I love helping creative people
Wow.
that are small business owners too. You know, you got a small business, even if it's not really creative. But if you think about it, almost everybody is creative, and every business has that area of creativity about it. No business is really not creative, because you're going to need somebody to help you with marketing. Well, that involves some creativity, not just knowledge, because you have to make a determination. Is this going to work? Is that not going to work? You know, so I think everybody is creative. I think every business has a creative streak in it somewhere. May be hard to find, but I think it's there, because I don't think people can live without being creative. You know, cooking is creative. Not everybody can cook, which kind of surprised me, but it's true. Not everybody can cook. And also, of course, not everybody knows how to, you know, build something. You know, like guys are very good at that because that's what they're taught to do. Um, but there's lots of creativity out there, and people don't think they're creative, but they are. They are. It's just sometimes you just don't realize it.
Yeah, you forget about it in between all the other things that are happening.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay, Chris, thank you very much. It was really a pleasure to have you. Enjoy the rest of your day,
I
and
will.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you, Nevis. It was a great pleasure. I really appreciate this opportunity to talk with you and your listeners and your watchers, viewers.